is Irene, and today I want to talk to you about the hymn, "O Brother, Be Faithful." Now, where is this hymn found? It's actually in the Seventh-day Adventist hymnal, and it's in hymn number 602. So let's open our hymnals to 602. And from the get-go, there are so many things that we can learn just by looking at the actual hymn page. We know that whenever we're looking at the left side of the hymn, it's always going to be the name of the writer, okay, or the hymn writer, the lyricist, whatever you call it. And then across that would be the name of the composer. So in this case, the hymn writer is Uriah Smith, and the composer would be Isaac Woodbury. The first year, it actually stands for the year. First year is 1853, and that tells us the year when this hymn was written. The next one is 1832 to 1903, and that tells us the year that Uriah Smith was born, and then 1903 is the year when he died. So we would basically know how old he was when he died and how long he lived. And then it's the same thing for the name across. You have Isaac Woodbury. He wrote this in 1847. He was born in the year 1819 and died 1858. So basically, just by looking at these years, we have an idea that they kind of lived at the same time. And then we have the word faithful on top, and then more numbers, 11:8, 11:8, D. Alright, so faithful is actually the name of the hymn tune. Okay, many times composers would give the name for the tune, and 11:8, 11:8 stands for the meter. So just like how poems work, you have 11 and 8 stands for the number of syllables per line. So in this case, you have 11, which is, "O brother, be faithful, soon Jesus will come." That's 11. And then, "For whom we have waited so long," 8. And so it goes on and on, 11:8, 11:8. D is, it stands for double, which means you basically repeat 11:8, 11:8. And so all throughout the hymn, the number of meters will indicate the numbers 11:8, 11:8. Right, so it's under the watchfulness section of the hymn, which means that whenever you're talking about being watchful, being ready for Christ's soon return, whenever this is the theme in worship, then this is one of the hymns that you can sing without really, like looking at all of the words and trying to see whether it fits. So this gives us a general idea of what the hymn is about. So that's what the hymn page basically tells us. But one of the things that is really interesting about this hymn is that it was based on secular music. Isaac Woodbury was actually a composer, music editor, pianist, teacher, organist, and he even went to London and Paris to study music. And he was a colleague of Lowell Mason. Lowell Mason is actually a known music educator all throughout America, and very, very important figure in American history, especially in music. And Isaac Woodbury would probably be like, in that level as well. If he wrote a lot of music, he was lobbying for singing in schools at this time. Many of the music educators really want the students to sing and to learn how to read notes. But sadly, in churches, it wasn't really like that. Today, we're enjoying hymnals wherein we have all these four voices, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. And yeah, we have a nicely written hymnal. today. But before, many of the hymnals were actually just words. You can just all the words are written, and then the meter would be written as well. And what happens is that if a tune is if it can fit 11/8 11/8D, then you can basically use the same tune for any poem or any verse that is around that same meter. So this was sort of a problem for many of the churches because, for one, congregation does not know how to read notes. All right, so if you don't read notes and you just come to church once a week, you're being taught the song, you go home, and by the time you get home, you forget the tune. So when you come back to church, the tune is gone and everyone else is singing something different. So no piano, no organ, no guitar, and so it was kind of hard. And actually there's so many eyewitnesses on how song services were like really, really awful during that time. So that's why people like Isaac Woodbury and Lowell Mason would really lobby for people to learn how to read notes so that they can teach them songs, and they can learn the song faster, more efficiently, and it would stick to them. So anyways, because that kind of like took a long time, one of the solutions was to use a secular song or a pre-existing tune and add the words to it, so that the tune is already in the brain, and all you need to do is to just change the words, basically. And Uriah Smith did that very same thing. Actually, it's not invention of Uriah Smith, but actually it really started from Martin Luther. Martin Luther would use this secular tunes of the day, and he would put all the hymns that he wrote or his colleagues would write, and that was one of the ways they were able to promulgate the message, the gospel, during their time. So Uriah Smith is doing the same thing. A lot of the composers are doing the same thing. So this song is actually based on what Isaac Woodbury composed. The title is "Be Kind to Your Loved Ones at Home." And the lyrics is actually very nice. Basically, it talks about respecting your parents, respecting your father because he's old and, he did all these things for you. Your mother, respect your brother, respect your sister. So the song is not so like, because, sometimes when you think about secular music today, it's very different. You have all these explicit words and, we don't want children to listen to it because it's that bad. But, the thing is, during this time, around the 1800s and earlier, a lot of the songs in the secular genre was not really different from the sacred genre. So it could be interchangeable. Those words were actually really nice, and in fact, it was so nice that it found its way. The actual "Be Kind to Your Loved Ones at Home" lyrics actually found its way in one of the Protestant hymnals. I forgot what the name was, but if you read my blog about this, then it's there. But anyways, so it was there, and it was using a different tune. So when Isaac Woodbury found the words, he said, I want to dedicate this to my mother. It's the perfect words, and I'm going to rewrite the tune. And the tune he wrote is precisely how we sing "O Brother Be Faithful" today. Uriah Smith is someone that many Adventists are familiar to. He is one of the big name pioneers of the Seventh-day Adventists. At one point, he was the editor of Review and Herald, and he was also secretary for the John Conference, and at one point he was also the treasurer. Aside from that, I call him a one-legged genius because he was an inventor. He basically invented a leg, and I guess one of the motivators for him inventing a leg is because he only has one leg. And you can read more about that in the article that I wrote as well. But one of the things is that, yeah, so he wrote, he invented a jointed prosthesis, and he had a lot of patents and inventions. And at one point he was able to sell these patents, and he was able to help financially to the Second Advent movement. So that's Uriah Smith for you. And one of the things that I really, really like about this hymn is its simplicity, its message of encouragement, of being faithful until he comes. And so as I end this video, I would like to play for you an arrangement that my friend did. It's in an album that I recently recorded, Almost Home, Hymns on the Second Coming of Jesus. And if you want to know more about hymns or this hymn, I wrote a blog, like I mentioned, in Hymns for Worship. It's going to be either, it depends on what platform you're watching this video from, but it's either going to be on top of this video or below this video. So just, explore and kind of try to find where it is. Subscribe and hit the like button below, or subscribe to my newsletter, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you, and see you again next time for another hymn. Bye.